All right, good evening, everyone. Just want to do a quick mic check. Want to make sure you guys can hear me okay.
Why am I full screen and you're so small? And
You know what? I try to make that bigger. Norm was able to do it on the last Ask Me Anything. I don't know how to do that. So
you
maybe.
just can you just grab this side and just increase the size?
All right, excellent. Glad you guys could hear us very good. We're just trying to see if I can get my screen a little bigger, but I am going to probably uh, text Norm to send me the answer to that while we get started. All right, guys. Just gonna give a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Give people a chance to log in. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Hope you're having a good Mother's Day if you're celebrating Mother's Day today.
Yes, happy Mother's Day, everyone. Yes, happy Mother's Day, everyone.
All right, guys. So let's get started. So first, I guess we'll do some introductions. Just give you a little bit introduction of myself, and then we'll try to see if I can get my screen a little bigger. But I'm one of the moderators with Bear Traders. I started trading live 2018 in January. Similar stories to kind of like Norms as well. If you saw his video as well. Again, my company laid me off due to they're moving to Kentucky. I live in New Jersey, so I was with them for 10, 12 years, 12 years, and with that, they gave me an opportunity to try something new, and I decided to try day trading. So I prepared for it. We had plenty of notice. So what I did was I did 7 months of simulation with Bear Traders before I started going live in preparation for that layoff that I knew was coming. And when that happened, I went live in January 2018. I've been trading ever since live. So that's my story. That's how I got into day trading. And then everybody knows Andrew's story, but we'll give him a chance to also, in case there's some new viewers, to give his an introduction as well.
Yeah, hello, everyone. So, I mean, most of you probably know me. I mean, my story is pretty much similar to Carlos. In 2015, I got laid off from my job, and they were actually really generous with their severance package. And I started trading. And I used to trade it before that, but really my trading career started from when I was let go. But I kept my job. I had another job. I kept it until last year. But I was lucky to be in the Pacific time zone when I could trade in the morning and I just continue working. So I woke up at 5:30, started trading at 6:30, and then I usually I was finished by 7:38, and then I could be at the job in by 9 o'clock. Yeah, so and Carlos was one of the traders that who joined our community, and he took the courses, and then he did the simulation, and he was really good. I mean, after 6 7 months, he was really becoming consistent and $400 $500 a day, and then we asked him to be part of the community as a moderator and community manager and help other traders to achieve that goal. I don't know. I mean, Carlos, it seems that you really, you were only a trader. You didn't have a second job while you were trading. Is that?
Yeah, that's correct. My company was also very good with their severance package as well for being in 12 years being a manager there. So they took care of us very well. Also, a bonus to be able to stay on with the company because obviously when they didn't want anybody to just leave, they want a good transition and migration to the new place. So that allowed me to try day trading. So I said, you know what, I went full time. I had a very supportive spouse that helps me a lot. So that was also very critical to have that support to try something like this because day trading is very difficult. It's very hard. and you need that support from your partner. So, yeah, did trading full time. Didn't have another job while doing this, and it's been working out great, and still doing it now. So, I'm happy to. I completed a year, obviously in January, and going on a year and a half now.
Nice. Yeah, one question from Zeliski is, I mean, where and how did you develop your trading style? And was it collaboration with experienced traders, or were you constantly backtesting and figured it out your own? So that's a very good question. There is no, there is no only one single way of trading, and there are millions of ways of trading, and really depends on your personality and the person who are trading with, or the community that you're belonging to. So for example, our community, we are trading mostly mid and high float stocks. We are really not touching these penny stocks. So if you are part of Bearable Traders, you start slowly building your skill in that community, in that type of trading and type of a stock. The strategies are really not it's just not the secret. I mean, most of the opening range breakouts or reversals are the strategies that everyone in the internet, just do a Google search or YouTube search, you'll find all of them. But what I found was, the price range that I was really comfortable with. I'm really comfortable with the price range of $10 to, $100. That's the price range that I'm very comfortable. Brian, for example, when we were trading together, we were trading with Brian. He was trading a little bit higher price stocks, but he had a bigger account than me, and he was just more comfortable taking more size on the stocks that were $200, $300 per stock. But overall, I don't have any specific person to name, but all of the people who have heard on the internet, I used to watch their videos. I used to learn from all of them, and I think there's something to learn from everyone on the internet. Either even from our community, I'm still watching all of the recaps from every single traders, and I'm actually learning a lot from those guys as well. What about you, Carlos?
Yeah, I think finding your style is so important, right? So starting out, I obviously wanted to follow someone once I guess do my live testing and things like that. Not live testing, a simulation. You tend to follow someone starting out, but eventually start getting into your role. You start figuring out what strategies you identify yourself with. So for example, for my case, opening range breakup and breakdowns, those are really good for me. So I'm always looking for those strategies. But in many cases, people try to force themselves to trade like somebody else, and that could be very hard to do. So over time and experience, I think you end up finding what strategy you like the best and which ones you can identify with the most. So I think that's very important as well. And then you slowly start changing it, right? As you get better with one, you can add more to it, or you can try new things as well.
So a question is about small account tips, like very small account. I mean, I don't know how small of account you're talking about, but if you're talking about $500, my only tip is don't trade. Don't really trade with anything less than $2,000-3,000. I mean, between $5,000 to $10,000 is a good number, but I know that there's a big vibe that you can turn any amount to $1 million. But I honestly don't think it's that feasible for most of the traders. So if you have a really small account, I would suggest invest on that money for now in education, and then try to save money later when you actually have the skill. You can, there's a lot of people. I mean, a few days ago, there was a guy who was 14, and he emailed me and he said, "Oh, I read your book. I want to become a trader." What I told him, that probably you can't open an account until you're 21. Why don't you just, have a little bit of money, just keep practicing and learning all different strategies. By the time that you're 21, you can actually start trading. That's my opinion. But again, time has changed. Now we have commissions significantly lower. By the time, when I started trading, I mean, $10 per trade was a very common commission. But now all of these brokers are reducing their commission structure, so it's now significantly more affordable to trade even with the smaller size. Now we have alliance traders who have a significantly low commission that our community can benefit from, or even CME Group is having a really low commission. So that's what I don't know. That's my opinion, Carlos. What do you think?
Yeah, I think same as you. And just to add another tip to that, if you're trading small account, what happens like 5,000 would be a great point to start. 3,000, it gives you good margins, especially with some offshore brokers. But you just have to keep in mind that you're not going to make $200 a day with that type of account. So you got to keep that in mind. A lot of people, they want to start with a small account and make unrealistic gains, right? And that means you're risking too much. You're using all your buying power. Those are things that are going to create bad habit in trading. So if you can make 1% from 5,000, yes, it's only $50, but if you can build those good habits and then eventually either add more funds to your account or grow your account, you can do that. We see this thing all the time where people take a very small account and grow it, but those guys are experienced trader. You give an experienced trader a small amount of money and they can do that. If you're starting out, you don't have that 5-10 years of experience. It's going to be a lot harder to do that, right? So that's my tip. Just stick to a reasonable gain, 1%, $50 a day. Might not sound like a lot, but picture yourself now with a $40,000 account, doing 1% a day, right? After building good habits over time, that's going to grow you into a very good, consistent trader.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the most powerful force in the universe is the compound power. So if you have a $2,000 account and if you want to make a living out of that, it's probably not possible. But if you start putting the profit into the account very soon, sooner than you think, you have actually a $40,000 account and you can actually work with any broker that you want and you get a better commission structure. Dima is asking, do you ever miss having a job where you can never lose money for doing poor work? I mean, well, you can lose your job if you're not doing your job properly, especially in this competitive market. Even if you do your job really well, I mean, the whole job market has changed. And, when I got laid off, I was doing great, but it's just, the company was not really in a good kind of situation because just the whole market was bad. What I'm missing about trading is, in not having a job is the social aspect of having a job, because trading is really boring. You're just behind your computer, can be very stressful, and it can be really overwhelming. But having a job is really good because you have colleagues, you commute, you get new environments and a lot of things. Being part of a community is a good thing. Because you start knowing people. That's why I travel a lot and meet all of the traders. But overall, I miss that social aspect. So you have to somehow, kind of make it up, compensate that with another thing, either family or friends or something, or doing volunteering stuff. But to me, I always said that I think the most successful traders are the one that trading is their side business or side job. If you want to focus really only on trading and make a living out of that, I mean, it's very, very difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, Carlos is an example of someone who just focused on trading full time, and now he's a full-time trader. But it's very difficult, and you must have a very supportive family. Because otherwise, without the support of family, it's just very, very difficult.
Yep, agreed. I mean, that's the only thing I missed too, the interaction with people. I was a manager, so I had a team of 15 people, and that's what I love the most. Walking around to everybody's desk, seeing how everybody's doing. Having that interaction, that touch, that personal touch. The community provides that for me. And at the beginning of the first 6 months, a lot of the guys that also got laid off of me didn't have jobs. So we'll go to lunch together and do things. Now they all have jobs. So now the community comes into a huge play here because you need to have people to interact with every day. So yeah, next question we have here is...
Yeah, Rishi is asking about being a discretionary trader or mechanical trader. I mean, we are kind of a hybrid hybrid. I think the future of trading is really a hybrid of technology and a trader. So, you have certain rules and certain strategy, and, some softwares like Trade Ideas are helping you, giving you some signals. But at the end of the day, you as a trader have to make that decision. And I think more and more, the role of a hybrid trading is becoming more, powerful and more evident in the community. I was in Trade Ideas event last October, and Dr. Brett Steenbarger was talking about, AI in trading, and he was also saying that, it's based on his opinion, the future of trading is really going toward the hybrid technology and discretionary trading.
All right, yep, I don't have much to add to that one. So next we have Joe Slow. Will you say it can take 2 years to really get consistent? I'll take that. I think it depends. It's different for everyone. I mean, some people, I've seen guys, do 6 months and be really consistent. Some do a year, and some can take 4 or 5. So it's different for everyone. I don't think it can take more than 5 years. I think around the 3rd year, you should know, okay, I am making progress and getting better, right? After 3 years, I think that's that's a time frame that you can decide that. But again, it's different for everybody, so it's very hard. We can't say, hey, 1 year you're going to be a pro, in 3 months you're going to be a pro. No way. Everybody's different because trading is so personal. So it depends on your style, your personality, your risk management. That all plays a part, and since we're all different, your trading and learning curve is also going to be different.
Also depends how much time you spend on trading. So for example, if you want to trade 2 years but only a few times a week, or you want to trade 2 years every single day and not missing even a morning. I mean, I'm a skier, and I've been skiing for 20 years. But I'm a medium to advanced skier. I'm not an expert really that I can ski every condition and every situation. But I see some people here that they were skiing for a few years, but because every season they ski 20 times, 30 times, or 40 times, they're much better skier than me. So it's not really a number. It's not a game that you just want to count the years. It's really the effort that you're putting behind that. And some people are better than than trading than others. It's just their mind. It's exactly like solving a puzzle. Some people are really getting it better. I think there's some roles of genetic and these kind of things behind that as well. But overall, what I'm going to say to all of you is give it a shot. If you can't make it, it's not the end of the world. It's not like not everyone can be a professional athlete. Not everyone can be a tennis player. Some people, enjoy certain activity, certain sports, and some people don't. And look at it that way.
Yep. So next question we have here, realistic expectations / returns for the first year of live trading, break even at best or small gains? This is a really good question. We get this a lot, especially from people that want to get into trading and want to see, okay, I'm going to invest my time, money, and effort. When can I start seeing a return? The problem with that comes back to our previous answer as well. It depends for everybody. It's different. Now, I do know for a fact you cannot go into trading expecting a return right away. That's not going to happen. If you go in with that goal of expecting a return, expecting to make money your first year, it can really mess up the way you're trading and your mentality and your psychology of trading. So you got to go in with expectations to learn how to trade and trade well and build good habits. The money's going to come after the fact. If you put that pressure on yourself, trading is already very stressful. If you put the pressure of, I need to make money by a certain date, by a certain time frame, I want to double my account, you're just going to build some bad habits and add additional pressure to trading that you don't really need anymore. Andrew, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same. I mean, definitely in the first 6 months, you should look into that just breaking even, because you want to also trade a small size as well. When you start going live, don't worry about the commission or platform fee or data fee. Just try to make $5 consistently every day, and then after that you slowly increase your share size. And also depends on the condition. It's a business. You're not guaranteed a certain income every single month, like just what Dima mentioned. As a business owner, some months are really good, some months and some weeks might not be as good. It's like any other business. Imagine you have a restaurant. You can't expect to have amazing income every single day. No, there are some certain period of time or weeks that you're not really selling as much, but you just have to survive in that.
Yeah. So next question we have here is, what is the advantage between a retail trader and a prop firm? I really don't know much about prop firms. Just know on the retail side. Andrew, not sure if you know much about prop firm traders and some of the advantages.
Prop firms, the most important thing that they make prop firms giving them an advantage is the discipline that the firm is applying for them. Prop firms are under scrutiny of the risk manager, and they're not allowed to break any risk management rule. And that's the main reason that prop traders are usually more successful than retail traders, because we can break any rule behind our computer and nobody can come at us and say, hey, why did you do that? Why didn't you get a stopped out? Or why did you add to your losing position? But the prop trader, if he makes a mistake twice, they're fired. So they have a discipline that is externally forced. But now our discipline has to be internally. In terms of buying power, I mean, prop firms usually have unlimited buying power, but they're not giving that buying power to one single trader. I mean, even one trader probably has something between $50,000 to $100,000 buying power, which is not unusual for a retail trader. But the main important thing in prop traders are the fact that their discipline is being enforced externally, so they can't really break any rule easily. Another thing is that prop traders usually have the benefit of being in a community and all of the mentorships that they're getting from experienced traders or from the psychologists that the firm are bringing for them. So they have a little bit of advantage on that aspect. That's why retail traders also have to be careful to surround themselves with a community of traders. Or, when we say community of traders, some people think, oh, we want to sell them something. But in reality, there is a benefit of being with a group of same-minded people. I mean, for example, professional athletes. If you want to be an Olympic athlete, you can do it by yourself. Just go and practice by yourself. But it's probably you have a better chance to join a team or club or something that you have the support of people. I think I would say probably the most of the main differences between the prop traders and retail traders are these. In the past, it used to be the softwares and platform and clearing firms that they had, but now just everything is accessible. I mean, we can have the same platforms and same clearing firms, same commission structure, and everything that is accessible to Wall Street people, now we can have it in our basement. So I don't think they have any advantages over technology or news or anything else. It's just the community and also the discipline that it's externally enforced to them.
Excellent. One question here is, the more I watch you trade, the more it seems you trade more off intuition rather than specific strategies. You are a master at reading small subtitles of price action. Do you agree? Subsidies, yeah.
Well, it's not intuition, but it's experience. Sometimes, based on experience, that this strategy is going to work or a stock is going to, do what, you're expecting to do. Still, my trading fits into the strategy, but the main thing in a successful trading is actually reading price action. You can't be a trader without analyzing the power of the balance of the power between buyers and sellers. I mean, no matter what's the strategy that you're trading, you always have to look if the buyers are going to win or short sellers are going to win. I mean, when you're taking a reversal, you definitely don't want to take a reversal when you see the stock is really, really going up and the buyers are just covering, the buyers are just keep buying. No, you want to wait until you get that based on experience, you feel that, okay, buyers are exhausted and now time for a reversal and short sellers are getting the control. So I wouldn't call it intuition, but it's experience. And again, the first thing, above any strategy that you want to trade is to be able to read balance of the power between buyers and sellers.
Yeah, I will agree with that as well, because what happens sometimes, another example is when I'm in a trade, sometimes the trade is not moving, it's kind of just moving around, consolidating there. And before it hits my stop, I see something in the price action that should get out of that trade. Some people say, well, why didn't you wait for it to hit your stop loss? Well, something was showing me new information that this might stop me out. Why would I wait to hit my stop? I'm going to get out. And the more you trade, the more that becomes better. It's not intuition. It's more like Andrew was saying, experience. Next question we have from Ross. Any long-term goals of trading? Do you see yourself scaling your share size up with time?
I personally don't think that I don't personally think that I want, the day trading is something that is good for generating cash for certain amount of money in your account. Like, you have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in your account and you can add, $1,000 a day. But if you have a $5 million account, you can't really day trade because the market is really not that liquid to, you can take 2,000 shares, but you can't really take 20,000 shares. So it's not really scalable in that sense. And that's very important, because when I say people, you can expect 1% a day, a lot of people might say, oh, if it's 1% a day, all of these hedge funds can, make 1% a day with day trading, but yeah, it's 1% a day for a $40,000 account. If you have a $400 million hedge fund, you can't, make 1% of a day with day trading. For example, AMD, CRON, MU, when we trade them, the hedge fund with $2 billion in there, they can't trade. If they want to buy all of them. So that's different. So, they have to invest in different, strategy. But for day trading, I think it's a really good niche, and I think it's going to be much better. I mean, we see it in the market that it's getting more volatile. The liquidity is getting every day better. I mean, 4 years ago, maybe $200 a day was really good for me, and now it's just $2,000 a day is not really something crazy, because just the volatility of the market that you see, it's just getting better and better. Remember, more people are interested in trading now with all of these Robinhood and discounted commissions and free brokers and stuff. And you see more and more ordinary people are bringing their money. And when the money from traders are coming, means that more liquidity, more volatility. I see it's a bright future for trading. It's just getting better and better every day.
Yeah, and if for those that have a smaller account, thinking about scaling up and growing their account, I think it has to come with your experience. For example, I'm still in the process of slowly scaling up my size, but it comes down to also being comfortable. Right now, I'm comfortable with losing 250 a day, 150 a day. I might not be comfortable yet emotionally to lose 500 a day, 600 a day. That could put me into a situation I don't want to be in. So you got to also check your experience, and slowly, as you're getting more comfortable, more consistent, you can slowly start getting to a point you can increase your size. Next question we have from C. Does it make sense to incorporate? Quickly, I'm not sure. That's a very personal question. You're going to really have to get with a professional tax advisor in your state, in your location, where you're located, to see if that makes sense. I know some people do it, others don't. So again, we really can't advise you on something like that. Andrew, anything you want to add to that? Or
yeah, well, it depends on the jurisdiction too. I mean, Canada and US are different, but I'm personally incorporated. But it's just a benefit for me. But you don't have to be incorporated, because incorporation also costs you a lot of money, and accounting would be more difficult. What you can do, you can have it as a business, and all of the costs that you have, like internet, like education, or license the DAS, or all of this stuff, you can have it as an expense. At the end of the year, you see how much you made, how much expense you had, and then you pay the taxes on the profit. It doesn't matter if you're incorporated or a personal. The whole concept is the same. You have to keep track of all of your eligible expenses, and also at the end of the day, you either have a profit or loss, and then you can just do the calculations.
All right, next question from Ivan. Not sure that I can recall when was your last max loss, but what is your thought process when you hit max loss that allows you to stop trading?
Well, I think based on experience, what I noticed, that whenever I'm having a bad day, I can feel it that I'm not having a bad day. I mean, we call it Hulk days. When I hit sometimes you overtrade particularly one single stock. Usually the max losses are happening on one single stock. You keep overtrading and you keep losing it. Usually the stock, you're having it completely wrong. One of my worst loss was on Yelp, and I was just keep shorting it, and the stock was not a short. And it doesn't matter what other stocks I was trading, but I was just having a really bad loss on that single trade. I think it's very important to have that in mind. We have a lot of rules in our community talking about the psychology, but I would say you would feel it. You are agitated, you're over trading, you're extremely anxious, and you can feel it that those days you have to walk away.
Yeah, and also it comes with experience as well. For example, I'm good at the open. I'll give you an example. Last week, STMP was being shorted, so that was a great trade. I was not able to enter because it was on SSR, so I tried twice to get in around 40.05. I missed it, and that was gonna be my one and done for the day. So I knew already I had the fear of missing out. I took another trade. I made like $22 or something, but I stopped trading because I know I missed a good opportunity there. I'm not going to force trades if I'm out of my time frame where I like to trade, where I'm most successful. So something like that doesn't have to be max loss. It can also be realizing what's your comfort zone, when are you more successful, and knowing when to stop, saying, you know what, I'm going to come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be another open. There's going to be more opportunities for us to trade. Next question we have here. What do you think about the future of trading? Will day trading work if the market crashes?
It actually works much better. I mean, we see that when the market is dropping, it's a nightmare for investors, but it's amazing for day traders because the volatility goes up and you can short, and usually you can short a lot of stocks or ETFs. I think it's if you get into a recession or if you get into big correction in the market, it's just amazing for traders because we as a trader, we can actually trade on the short side as well. But investors usually don't short. They usually invest in the long term. I think it's just even better for us.
Yeah, and we saw a little glimpse of that at the beginning of this year when the markets were dropping a lot. You see the volume and volatility just go crazy, and a lot of opportunities were created when the market, again, was just pulling back, nothing big as a recession or a crash. That's actually major, right? but you do get a lot of movements that are good for us.
But one thing I have to say, Carlos, that this is important, guys, because when the market gets volatile and you hear it from the news that our market is selling off, a lot of people want to jump into trading exactly in that moment. They want to withdraw their money and they just manage their own money. That's usually the worst time to start trading, because you have to know how to trade when the market starts becoming volatile and selling off to capitalize on that. If you don't know how to trade and then you read in the news that our market is selling off, you want to jump into trading, that's usually the recipe for disaster. You have to actually stay away from the market in those conditions. So that's another thing that you have to be, you have to be ready when the market is becoming volatile to capitalize on that.
All right, so Andrew has, hi BBT, which hotkeys do you use on DAS? We actually have that on our website. We can get one of the moderators to get you a link for that. But we have several hotkeys. I have 6 hotkeys, one for buy, one buy full, sell half, sell 25%, and then sell all. So I got 4 hotkeys for each one. I usually just use selling, sell 25%. That's usually how I scale out. But just usually those 4 hotkeys for long and short positions. Andrew, what do you use for your hotkeys?
Well, I have a lot of hotkeys, and depending on what I want, but we have the list of them in the website or education center. Can people talk? I see one question. Chat Pat is asking, what are the main advantages of joining Bearable Traders chat room for a part-time trader? So I mentioned that being part of a chat room is, I think there are a lot of advantages in that, and disadvantages. So the disadvantages, it can be distracting, or it can take your focus from trading. So this is a disadvantage of being in a community. So you have to be very careful when you are part of a community. Don't lose your independence and don't distract yourself too much from trading. But the advantages, which is, in my opinion, I think it's worth joining a community, is if you have a question, there are a lot of people who answer your question. And that's, imagine if you have a problem with your hotkey, you can spend days and weeks, playing around and asking support team from the software or broker or doing online to find that answer. But sometimes, just by typing one quick question, there's a lot of answers coming in. Probably most of the people had the same question in the past and they solved it. And you are part of a community in a way that you get support if you are having a bad day, or you get a lot of trading tips and you learn a lot. In terms of, and you can join any community. I'm not really saying that you should join our community. It's not about selling you anything. There are free chat rooms as well that you can join. But about as a part-time trader, I mean, most of the traders in our community are part-time. It's not that all of them are full-time. And as I mentioned, even until last year, trading for me was part-time. I was having a job, 9-to-5 job. I was trading until 8 o'clock, and I was, off toward my own job. One thing that we have that not a lot of community has is a lifetime membership. Because if you're a part-time trader and you want to pay monthly fee, and usually expensive monthly fees, $100, $200 a month, it just sucks, because you are trading only once or twice a week or something like that. That's why we introduced lifetime membership, one-time payment and then done. You are having an access forever as long as our community stands. And sometimes you might want to take a vacation. Sometimes you want to take a break from trading, or for any reason. You have access, and you don't need to worry about paying monthly fee.
All right, Joe Smith has, what makes you confident next morning after trading? What makes you confident the next morning trading after a big day of losing?
Sorry, can you say that?
Yeah. So what makes you confident the next morning trading after having a big loss?
Well, the fact that market is independent. I mean, what happened yesterday has nothing to do with the next day, and that's a very important thing. That every day, and even every trade, is a fresh trade. It's not like you're having a bad day and that bad luck or bad thing comes after you. It's just you eventually learn that like a surgeon or a lawyer, every case is different. If you lose a case as a lawyer, the next case doesn't have to do anything with the previous case. Or like a doctor, every patient is different. When you're going to a surgery, if that patient dies, that doesn't mean that the next patient would die as well. No, it's just everything is different. And you come, after some experience and some practice, you come to the conclusion that every trade or every day is a new day and a new trade.
Yep, absolutely. Next we have, do you know if there's a lot of traders near Montreal? I believe so. I think we do have, but you can check our forum. We have a forum for Montreal. There's a lot of traders, I believe, Andrew, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I think we had last year we had a meetup, and about 22 people from Montreal and Ottawa came. Actually, two people came from New York City as well. But we are going to have another meetup in June. I think June 21st in the evening, because I'll be in a Modern Trader Summit in June 2nd. So if you want to come, even if you're not part of the community, come and join us on June 21st. We're going to have a meetup. You can check on the forum in the location.
all right, we have another one here. What is Robinhood good for day trades?
No, because there are a couple of problems with Robinhood. Robinhood is not a direct access broker, so it means that your orders are not going directly to the market to get filled. What is the situation here? What they call Robinhood is actually selling the order flow to the market. So your orders go to the Robinhood, and Robinhood sells your order flow to another broker, and they make money out of selling that order flow. That's why they're free commission. Sometimes you might wonder, okay, what's their business model when everything is free? The business model is they're actually selling your orders to other exchanges and brokers. So it's definitely not good for day trading. Plus, the platform that they have is not a direct access platform, so you won't get filled as fast or as accurate as you want. So forget about Robinhood at this stage. I think Robinhood might eventually move toward active trading and day trading, but at this moment they don't have the platform and they don't have the infrastructure to be serving active traders that need to get filled in a matter of milliseconds.
Yep, and actually we talk about that using the right tools for the right job in class 2. So class 2 is actually this week. If you're part of the members, we're doing full classes this week, so check that out. But yeah, you have to have the right tools for the right job. Next question we have here, psychologically, what is your advice to survive an extended drawdown period when you lose your confidence but had success in the past? Great question. For me, I think you have to reset. There's several ways you can reset. Everybody's different. Some people take a break. They take 2 or a couple of days off from trading. Some people go back to simulation to build their confidence and realize that, it's not the market trying to get me. When you're trading in simulation, obviously you're trading in real life sim. Everything's the same, information the same. You can still take the same strategy, but the only thing that's removed a little bit is the emotional part, right? And usually when people go down through these draws, the confidence it gets so low that emotionally is very taxing on you. So I think you have to reset. We do have a video that we made on how to deal with a losing streak. But psychologically, that's what you have to do. You have to find a way to reset, take a couple of days off, go back to simulation, and realize that you're still a good trader. You just need to be able to build that confidence back. Because when you have a losing streak over a couple of days, you are trying really hard to get back that one win to snap it, and usually that can add additional pressure to your trading. Andrew?
Yeah, I think most of the people who give up trading is they are the people who get disappointed from and get frustrated from the expectations that they had. I mean, if you come into a trading by the expectation that you're going to retire in 2 months and going to Caribbean and start trading from a laptop next to the beach, that you get frustrated really, really fast. But if you are there for a long term, for a long haul, and it takes time, it takes a level of persistence to become profitable, these small drawbacks won't really, make you disappointed or frustrated. That's exactly was my case. I really, really wanted this trading. I really wanted that, and I didn't care, if I lost $10,000 in a matter of weeks. I was young. I didn't have any mortgage. I didn't have any kids, and I really, really wanted that. And not everyone is really privileged and lucky to be in that situation. So I totally understand that if someone, when you put everything on the table, you see, okay, it's not going to worth my time because in my situation, I'm married, mortgage, kids, this kind of things, and that's fair. So you shouldn't really try trading. But if you have a good expectation, if you have a reasonable expectation from trading, I think we are just example of the people that you can actually do it. Although there is no guarantee in anything, even in any career, there is no guarantee. But it's just managing expectation is very important.
Absolutely. Next question we have here. You have a lot of levels on your chart. Do you add those every morning, or do they get saved over time from your previous line? So great question. We do have a pre-market show at 8:30 Eastern time every day, and me and Norm go over how we add these lines. We usually add them every morning. Now, whatever we add there the next following day, next week, or whatever you come back to that chart, those lines will stay there. But usually we end up deleting them and then showing you again how we add those lines, because you could have new information now. If something was active 3 weeks ago, this week we have more new levels that were created over that period. So we want to find the most recent levels that make sense where the price is at. Also, there's some lines that already stay on there. The previous day high, previous day low, things like that will be on there, previous day close. But definitely join our pre-market show tomorrow at 8:30. If you can't make it at that time, Eastern time, we have it recorded. You can see how we find those lines. All right, next question here. For journaling, do you have an elevation of the execution score? Evaluation of the execution score. I'm not sure what that means. So we'll just have to skip that one. Have you traded any stock market other than non-US? And if yes, what was your experience versus US market?
I personally never traded in the US, outside of US, although I'm in Canada, but the liquidity and the volatility that US market has, I don't think anywhere in the world has that. It's just the US is a very equity driven market. And just I mean, it's not worth really going anywhere else. Canada is okay, but it's just not really good for day trading.
All right, another question here. Do you know? So Carlos, how did you know when it was time for you to leave simulation and start live trading? I traded for 7 months. That was a very long time. So I had a set day that, I'm going to trade for these 7 months where I still have a job here. My last day was on December 2017, and I'm going to start on January 2018. So that was a very long time. You don't need that much time in simulation, but I think that really prepared me to go live. I was being consistent. I knew that was not going to be the same when I went live. I didn't know how different it was going to be until I actually tried it. Again, it's not as easy because everything else is exactly the same in simulation except the emotions. Once you put the emotions into the formula here, this is when you realize that okay, this is not as easy as it looks, and then you have to learn how to build your psychology in there. So again, I think you have to, once you realize you can identify a strategy that you can have some good rules and habits, stopping out, not averaging down, being very honest to yourself, right? Because it's easy to average down and do all kinds of things in simulation, and then you end the day with $500 plus. You take a screenshot to your buddies. Hey man, look, I made $500 today. I'm gonna start day trading in a month from now. You can do that. You got to be honest and real with yourself with the simulation. Andrew, anything you want to add to that in regards to going from sim? Okay. All right. So next question we have here. Just scrolling down, right? We got some good comments.
Yeah, Jeff is asking about Alliance Trader. Some people are asking about Alliance Trader. Alliance Trader is accepting applications from all countries. Yes, they might have some limitation on certain countries, but I think most of the 99.9% of the countries they accept, and they accept the applications. You can open an account in June 3rd, so they're ready to fund the account by June 3rd. So I announced it a little bit prematurely, so I apologize for that. But yes, Alliance is accepting applications now, and then you can fund your account and start trading from June 3rd. They were just not ready on the back end. And I think it's one of the best commission structure that you can find on the planet Earth right now for people with less than $25,000.
All right, John has a good question. So since you started doing this full time, Carlos, how does your tax work? Is it higher bracket than your regular W-2? Yes, it is. I mean, I reported $1 million last year in gains. And so what I did was I was smart. I bought a Lamborghini, one in red, one in white, and then I just expensed it as a business. So it worked out great. No, guys, it was a break even for me last year. So my tax, I just reported whatever the income it was. And it was just a regular tax. Me and my partner do it together, my fiance. All right, next question. What is it like trading during a severe recession? Are you guys worried about such an occurrence? We kind of answered this question earlier before, and it's actually good for us because it creates volatility in the market when you have that. So we kind of have to answer that earlier. So what else do we have here? What do you think about scalping in the first minutes? Ben, I think that's a great question. I think it works like any strategy. Some people say, oh, scalping is bad. You shouldn't do it. It's horrible. That's not real trading. There's no right or wrong way to trade the markets. As long as you can manage your risk and find a strategy that consistently works for you, I think scalping could be a profitable, consistent strategy. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You just have to have some kind of rules and strategy that works for you if you can identify with scalping. Now, some people just get in and get out and they're just randomly guessing. They have no rules. They're following no type of strategies. That is bad, right? That can get you into trouble very fast because then you're just randomly gambling. So that's not what you want to do. You want to be able to find a strategy, have some rules in place and criteria that say, okay, everything hits my signals. I can take a scalp here that's gonna has a high probability of working out. Andrew.
Yeah, so again, I mean, it's possible, but you just have to make sure that you manage your risk and you know what you're doing. Most of the time, trading in the first few minutes is not possible because the consistency is not possible because it's just way too volatile. But if you can find certain patterns that you think it's working, yeah, why not? I mean, obviously it's possible. A lot of people are doing it right now.
Yep.
It's just I don't do that.
Yep. So Jerome, what's the trigger to incorporate a business over 500,000 a year? I am not sure. I don't think that matters. I think you can incorporate even if you make less than that in a year, Andrew. Right? I mean, you're gonna have to give it a tax advisor to really find out that type of detail on wherever you're located. All right. So more of the price actions for a bit, but have you read any of Al Brooks' books in the past? So if so, what did you think overall? I haven't read any of his books.
I haven't either as well. So another thing that I wanted to mention that to you guys, I see at least for day trading, a lot of people constantly want to read how the market works. They're just looking for technical books one after another. I'm not saying that don't do it, but a lot of time the problem of the traders are not the technical knowledge, but it's their own psychology. So that's why I recommend reading. If you read a little bit of technical stuff, just go play around in a simulator and also read about the psychology of trading as well. Because knowing more on how the market works and the technicals behind that doesn't necessarily help you to become a better trader. There are some elements, and probably the main reason that traders are failing is because of the psychology of trading. So definitely also read that as well.
Yep. Another question here. We kind of answered this one earlier today, earlier in the show. How was day trading back in December 2018 when the market seemed like it was crashing back then? It's kind of the same thing. Again, it creates volatility, a lot of volume. So for us, day traders is great because it creates opportunities towards the downside. And then also after some stocks really take a bad hit, you can have a bounce back again. So we kind of answered that earlier as well.
So one thing that I wanted to mention that to you, our focus in our community is to teach you to trade consistently on every market condition. Sometimes when the market is actually getting too volatile, I'm telling people that don't trade because yes, there's a lot of opportunity, but you can become a consistent trader ignoring on those particular days that the market is extremely volatile. Yes, the volatility is good and the good traders can capitalize on that, but as a lot of traders can stay away from those crazy situations and still make money. I mean, I'm showing it to you every single day in our chat room, and my focus is to try to build a career consistently over every certain condition. If you are a trader that you can make money only when the president tweets or when the rates are changing or maybe a war or tariffs or something happening, then that might not be consistent or that money might not be enough for you to make a living out of that. So you have to be able to learn trading on every condition. Even when the market is really flat, still there are some certain stocks in play that gapping up and down. So we focus on that consistency part.
Yep. Another question here. Besides of day trading, do you hold or invest in any long-term stocks? What else do you invest in? I personally only have 401k from my previous job. I don't do any other investing long-term or any type of swing trading neither. Andrew?
I personally am also all in cash at the end of the day. Brian is doing a lot of swing trading, but I personally it's my personality. I can't have anything, any position because I have a tendency to just constantly get distracted and check the market. So I'm all cash at the end of the day. But if I have any money, I would probably move it to some assets that are more stable, like bonds or real estate. It's usually good depending on where you live. I mean, Vancouver real estate seems to be solid, so I prefer to invest in there rather than long-term stocks.
All right, another question is, did you join another chat room when you were first learning?
Yeah, I was part of a couple of chat rooms. I personally was part of a couple of chat rooms, and I learned from all of those guys, and I'm grateful for those chat rooms and the community that they were supportive when I was learning. Yeah.
Yep, excellent. I was also part of a different chat room prior to joining Bareboot Traders. But again, their personality was different. It was a great group of guys doing good things. It's just that it was not my style of trading. And that's when I found Andrew's book. And I like that style of trading. And I gave the community a shot. And again, been here ever since. Next question. So CMEG broker is it a good broker outside of the US without PTD restrictions as you mentioned in your book? Yes, it is. They're solid. CME is solid. There's a lot of people trading with CME. I trade with CME. I've been with them coming up on a year now. Again, no issues with them. So they're a solid broker.
Yeah, so far they have been good. Alliance Trader is offering a better commission, but I think probably CME also reduces their commission structure too when the competition goes up. But yeah, so far we've never had any issue with none of them. Yeah.
Yep. Next question. Do you prefer a limit order or market order for entering a trade? I prefer market orders because I want to get in right away. I think Andrew's the same thing. Market orders are the way to go. The only time we really use limit orders when we're getting into trades is on if something is on short selling restriction. There's no other way to enter that trade but with a limit order sitting on the ask. For those in the U.S. who full-time trade, do you miss benefits such as health and insurance? That's a great question. I'm lucky. I get insurance through my fiance, so I'm okay there. But yeah, insurance will be something you will have to look into. I'm not sure how it works in Canada.
Well, we have a universal healthcare, so
of course
it doesn't matter.
Sweet, excellent. Yeah, so my partner, I'm on her plan, so that really again takes off that pressure. Having that support with your family is important. How many traders being part of the community are actually active?
I don't know. I mean, we don't have that number of data, but we do have a good number of that. We are small. I mean, Bareboot Traders is definitely one of the smaller chat rooms out there compared to other people, and we're happy with that because we really want serious traders. We really don't want impulsive people who really want to have a very bad expectations, and we just don't want anyone in our community, and we don't have any advertisement either. We want people who really want to find us, and then they go and look at all of the options, and if they think this is a good match in personality, it's a community, so you got to be a match to the community. So if you feel better with other community, just join them. But we are small. We are probably one of the smallest chat rooms out there and communities out there. And someone asked if I don't use DUS, can I still join? Of course, Garrett. I mean, the broker and the platform that you're using, it's up to you. I mean, most of our traders are using DAS, and one of the couple of brokers that we recommended, like I'm using Interactive Brokers, Carlos is using CME Group.
Some people are using Thinkorswim as well.
Yeah, Thinkorswim, TD Thinkorswim. It really depends. I mean, you don't have to have everything that we have.
Yep. How many people honestly end up making it? I mean, that's tough. That's a question I don't think anyone can really answer.
But I don't think it's very high, even in our community. I mean, not a lot of people are making it because it's just the nature of trading is difficult and it's not suitable for everyone. I'm not going to tell you that 100% of our traders are consistently making money. No, probably. I mean, it's probably most of them maybe don't make it. I don't have that number, but it's just okay, because a lot of them are just coming to test trading as a business, and they move on later to a different stage or take some time. But overall, if they say 10% of the traders are only making it statistically, maybe our community is 25-30%. I'm not saying that 90% of our traders are really making it.
Yep. When is the next meetup in Vancouver? I think that's being talked about, but definitely sign up to our forums. You can get updated on when we send that out, Ben.
I mean, Robert was supposed to arrange that, but Robert, he's just too busy. He recently had the second baby. So, someone had to organize it. And then I live in Vancouver, so most of the time I can show up. So if anyone is in Vancouver and really, you don't even need to be part of the community. So you can just go and post it on the forum. And then, where you find the time to meet.
Good question here. What is the max size for day trading account, and at what point do you start growing the account and moving the funds somewhere else for long-term investing? Kind of we said earlier. Again, we think 40,000, right? It's pretty good. You could do 40,000. Some people do 100,000 or more, but you get to a point where 5 million, 400 million, you can't day trade with that. As Andrew was mentioning earlier, he broke down the details. That you can start doing into long-term investing. Maybe put it into into other places to invest.
So if 30 to 50,000 is really good number for people who really want to make a living, and if you have more than $100,000, you can actually negotiate the buying power with the broker. I know interactive brokers, if you have over $100,000, they actually give you 6-to-1 margin, so you can have $600,000 of buying power. But that's a lot of buying power. What do you want to do with that? I'm not sure. But I think for the people who really want to make a living with $500 to $1,000 a day, I mean, $30,000 to $50,000 is a good number because you also get the buying power of 4-to-1.
Yep. So do we ever think about the fundamentals while trading? I personally do not. I want to consider myself a technical trader. I don't even hear the news before the open or after the close. I'm focused more on what the chart is giving us. Yeah, do we look at stuff? If something's gapping up quite a bit, we'll go into Benzinga. We get access to that. I'll check if it's a buyout. If there any positive news, earnings. We'll look at that because that causes our stocks in play. But I'm not looking at any fundamental. Is the company earnings? How's the company doing before I trade? I'm not looking into that. Andrew, yourself?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Do you ever think about the fundamentals while trading?
No, not at all. Because when I'm reading about the fundamentals, sometimes I get a bias, and you don't want that confirmation bias when you're day trading. So I'm just looking at the technical.
Excellent. Great question here. Sometimes you say you wait 5, 10, 15, 30 minutes to see the direction of the price action, but sometimes the price action moves so far from VWAP in the first 2 to 3 minutes after the open. How do you know to wait or not to go into that type of trade?
Well, if you think that price is really extended and the train has, the ship has sailed, so to speak, so just don't trade it. Wait for another one. Look for another one. Don't get the fear of missing out. Or if you want to go really small. And if you get a better opportunity, you can always add more, or you can just take a smaller profit because you have a smaller share size. But that's a common mistake. Fear of missing out, usually the chasing the stock all the way up in the top or to the bottom, that's usually a recipe for disaster. So it also depends on the condition and the strategy that you are really trying to trade.
Excellent. All right, guys. So we got another 3 minutes here. See if we could do 2 more, and then we'll call it a day. And there's a post on here. So if you want to, you can send your questions over as well, and we can answer them later. But let's do one more. And I also want to remind you guys, we do have a promotion code. I'm going to have one of the moderators post it now if you guys want to try our chat room. So another question. Hey, Andrew, you don't have to follow the PTD rule in Canada, right?
No, well, that's a good thing. I think interactive brokers requires at least $10,000 kind of a PDT, but I don't think they actually enforce that. I know people who are trading with $4,000 or $5,000 account in Interactive Brokers Canada.
Excellent. And Fabio has a question. Yeah, we do. Do we know some of the other traders and communities? And yes, we do, because we're in that business as well. But every community is different. We don't think bad or anything of any community. Every community is different. You just got to find what works for you. So yeah, we know the guys that you're mentioning there in the chat room. We know those communities. But again, we're not in the business of talking bad about any community or saying, hey, these guys are doing something wrong. Everybody's different. If they're in business, they're doing a good job, they'll get the members that fit their type of style and trading. So that's what it is, right? You got to find what's your style and find a community that supports that. Yeah,
you should definitely look at the other communities as well. I mean, I encourage people to really look into the other communities as well and see which one actually adds more value to you and your personality and everything. And remember, the people who are behind the community doesn't necessarily represent the community. If I do something crazy, that doesn't mean that the bareboot traders are all crazy people. So really, you have to give the community a chance, because I might trade for a few hours, but most of the time there are other moderators and they're coming with different background and different trading styles. We do have we want to offer a 20% discount for anyone who want to join us as a lifetime members. Just use YT20, which is YouTube 20. And if you want to join us, but again, the whole idea was not really to sell you anything. It's just want to add some value to you by answering questions. But if you're interested in checking us out, join us, and we do have a 14 days refund. So if you didn't like our community, just ask for a refund and you get that. You can go watch all of the education center videos, be in the chat room for 14 days, ask for a refund. That's fine. I mean, it's funny that no one has ever actually abused this 14 days refund policy that we have.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. So thank you all for joining us on this Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to anyone that's celebrating, and to all the mothers out there. Tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern Time, we'll be on with the pre-market show live here on YouTube. I'm going to post the link now in a second, so make sure you go in there and hit a reminder so you can get notified. And we'll see you guys then. Again, we go over how to find levels. There was a lot of questions how to find levels and what do we do for stocks in play. It's very important to look at the right stocks. So make sure you join Norm and I 8:30 Eastern Time.
All right, thank you very much. And yeah, I'm going to watch Game of Thrones now. Have a good evening, everyone.
I'm behind. I don't want to hear anything about Game of Thrones. I'm trying to catch up. Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.